Forgiveness is Freedom. Episode 6. The Freedom on the Other Side, Living Unburdened and Whole. The Divine Frequency, written by Dr. James Ojjeh. Welcome back to the Divine Frequency. This is the final episode of our series, Forgiveness is Freedom. And if you have been with us from the beginning, I want you to know something before we go any further. You have done something extraordinary, not because you listened to a series, but because you stayed. You stayed when the weight was named and you recognized it as your own. You stayed when the science revealed what resentment was doing inside your body. You stayed when the mirror turned inward and asked you to face the hardest forgiveness of all. You stayed when it was time to honor the past with dignity and gratitude. And you stayed when it was time to cut the cord and reclaim what had been quietly given away. That is not passive listening. That is courage. And it is the kind of courage that changes lives, not in a single dramatic moment, but in the quiet, steady accumulation of choices that no one else may ever see. This final episode is not about adding more weight to your journey. It is about standing in the space that opens when the weight is finally gone. It is about what life looks like, what life feels like, on the other side of forgiveness. You are not the same person who pressed play on episode 1. Something has shifted, not because someone gave you something new, but because you remembered something that was always there, beneath the resentment, beneath the guilt, beneath the years of carrying. What your soul was never meant to hold. You remembered your wholeness. You remembered your freedom. And now, for the first time in a long time, your hands are open. Not empty. Open. Ready to receive what has been waiting. For you to make room. What freedom feels like. Freedom, after forgiveness, does not always arrive the way you expect it to. It is not always a rush of joy. It is not always a lightning bolt of clarity. Sometimes it is quieter than that, softer, almost imperceptible at first. It is the morning you wake up and realize you did not think about them, not because you forced yourself not to, but because they simply did not arise. The space they occupied in your mind has been gently reclaimed, and something else has taken root there. Something lighter, something that belongs to you. It is the moment in conversation when someone mentions a name, a place, or a memory that used to send a wave of heat through your chest, and instead, you feel something you did not expect. Peace. Not numbness, not avoidance, genuine peace. The kind that comes from having truly processed, truly honored, and truly released what was once a wound. It is the breath that goes all the way down, the exhale that seems to empty rooms inside you that have been locked for years, the feeling that your body is no longer bracing for impact, no longer guarding against a threat that has already passed. Freedom after forgiveness feels like coming home, not to a place, to yourself. Living by frequency, not force. There is a shift that happens when a person moves from survival into alignment. It is the shift from force to frequency. For most of your life, you may have been pushing against the current, pushing through the pain, pushing yourself to prove, to earn, to become something worthy of the love you already deserved. And that pushing kept you alive. It was the engine of your survival, and there is no shame in it. But there is another way, not the way of collapse, not the way of giving up, but the way of tuning in, of aligning, of becoming so clear in your signal that the life you are meant to live can finally hear you. You do not need to shout at the universe. You need to become a frequency it recognizes, a frequency of trust, a frequency of peace, a frequency of wholeness that does not depend on the world's approval to know its own worth. Force was how you survived. Frequency is how you will thrive. And the shift between the two is not a leap. It is a softening, a breath, a release, a quiet decision to stop fighting for your life and start living from it. When you sustain a coherent emotional state, when the thought in your mind and the feeling in your heart are aligned, your brain fires in organized patterns. Your heart generates a smooth, harmonious electromagnetic signal. Your nervous system shifts out of survival and into openness, and your entire being begins to broadcast a different signal into the world around you. You are no longer the seeker. You are the signal, and everything you need is already on its way. Your life as a lighthouse. There is something that happens when a person begins to live from their truth that extends far beyond their own experience. They become visible, not in the sense of fame or performance, but in the sense of energetic presence. People notice, not necessarily what you are doing, but how you carry yourself, the steadiness, the calm, the quality of attention you bring to a conversation, the way you hold space for others without losing yourself, the quiet, unshakable something that radiates from a person who has come home to themselves. This is not an act. It cannot be manufactured. It is the natural consequence of coherence, the result of a mind, heart, and body that are working in alignment with the truth of who you are. And it is contagious. Research on emotional contagion has demonstrated that human beings are profoundly influenced by the emotional states of those around them. When you are in a state of coherence, your heart's electromagnetic field, which extends beyond your body, creates an environment in which the nervous systems of others are subtly influenced toward calm, safety, and openness. You do not have to teach anyone a lesson. You do not have to explain what you have learned or convince anyone to follow the same path. Your presence is the teaching. Your alignment is the influence. Your life, lived in truth, becomes a lighthouse for everyone whose path crosses yours. This is how real change spreads, not through force, not through argument, but through the quiet, undeniable power of a person who has stopped performing and started being. A person whose inner world is so steady that it steadies others. A person who has healed enough of themselves to create space for others to begin healing too. You are that person now. When the old story whispers, let me be honest with you about something. The work of forgiveness does not mean the old story will never return. There will be mornings when the memory surfaces. There will be moments when a scent, a song, or a silence pulls you back toward the weight you set down. And in those moments, the old voice may whisper, "See, you are not really free. It is still here. You have not changed at all." But that voice is lying. The return of the memory is not evidence of failure. It is part of the process. The difference between who you were before this series and who you are now is not that the pain has been erased. It is that you now have the awareness to see it, the tools to meet it, and the compassion to let it pass without letting it own you. Every time you catch the old thought and choose a new one, you weaken the old neural pathway and strengthen the new one. Every time you feel the pull of resentment and choose peace instead, you are teaching your body a new chemistry. Every time the inner judge reopens the case and you gently say, "I have already heard this verdict, and I choose compassion," you are proving to your nervous system that a different way of being is not only possible, it is who you are becoming. You do not need a life without storms. You need a self that knows how to stand in the rain with steady feet and an open heart. And that self is the one you have been building, episode by episode. breath by breath, choice by choice. The integration. Let us stand together at the threshold and look back at the ground we have covered. In Episode 1, you named the invisible weight of unforgiveness and took the first step toward freedom by simply acknowledging what you were carrying. In Episode 2, you went inside the body and discovered that resentment is a biological event that hijacks your nervous system, suppresses your immune function, and can become a chemical addiction your cells crave without your awareness. In Episode 3, you faced the hardest forgiveness, the one directed toward yourself. You learned that self-blame activates the same stress pathways as external threats, and you began the practice of laying down the gavel. In Episode 4, you discovered that nothing can be truly released until it is first honored. You learned that gratitude is alchemy, and that the dignity of honoring the past transforms letting go from an act of loss into an act of liberation. In Episode 5, you cut the cord. You recognized the invisible energetic attachments that were still draining your vitality, and you practiced releasing them with love, reclaiming your energy, and honoring the sacred space that opened. And now, here in Episode 6, you stand on the other side, not as a different person, as more of yourself, as the version of you that was always there, beneath the weight, beneath the anger, beneath the guilt, beneath the cords, waiting for the moment you would finally set it all down and remember who you truly are. This is not an ending. This is a beginning. The beginning of a life lived from the truth of who you are. You did not come here to be small. You did not come here to be silent. You did not come here to live a life written by someone else's hand. You came here to remember, to heal, to love, to create. And now, your hands are open. Your heart is clear. Your body has received the signal that the war is over. You are no longer carrying what was never yours to hold. You are no longer serving a sentence in a prison of your own construction. You are no longer the accused, the judge, and the prisoner. All at once. You are free, not because the world changed, not because they apologized, not because the past was rewritten, but because you chose to stop, letting it write your future. And that choice, made quietly, made bravely, made with your hand on your heart, and your eyes on the horizon, is the most powerful thing a human being can do. Forgiveness is not weakness. It never was. It is the greatest act of strength your soul will ever perform, and you have performed it. So walk forward now. Walk lightly. Walk freely. Walk as the lighthouse you have become, and know that every step you take, in alignment with your truth, sends a ripple through the world that reaches farther than you will ever see. You are enough. You are whole. You are the power within. And your story, the real one, the one only you can write, begins now. Awaken, heal, live in the divine frequency. If this series has touched your life, if it has named something you have been carrying and helped you begin to set it down, I ask you from my heart to share it. Share it with someone who is still in the weight, someone who is still sitting in the courtroom, someone who is still holding on to a cord that is draining the life they deserve to live. These words found you for a reason. Perhaps you are the reason they find someone else. And if you want to go deeper into this journey, the book Forgiveness is Freedom by Dr. James Ojjeh expands on everything we have explored in this series, with extended chapters, guided practices, personal stories, and the full science behind each step of the path. It will be available soon on Amazon. Thank you for walking this road with me. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your willingness to heal. It has been my deepest honor to share this space with you. Stay rooted in your truth. Stay in your light. And stay with us as we continue to awaken, to heal, and to live fully in the divine frequency.